Hey guys, Southern Comfort here, and we're in the greenhouse and we are preparing the greenhouse for fall and winter. The plants are always changing in here. We still got some tomatoes going on, they're growing. The oranges have been moved into the greenhouse. They're doing fantastic. Lemons, partially still going on. Over here we have the Cheers cabbages. Now all my plants are raised from seeds. Over here we have cabbages. These are two varieties of cabbages. One is Cheers, that's Cheers. These are raised from seeds, and as you can tell, I've got some pest issues going on. You're always going to have to be observant into the greenhouse because of pests. Now I looked over these leaves yesterday and I didn't see anything, and I was out here at 5 a.m. and I seen two worms. They can hide themselves, camouflage themselves, even though these were brown types of worms. Over here we have the cabbages. Tomatoes were volunteers, shall I say, from seeds from the spring summer garden. Here's a volunteer potatoes coming up, and I plan on trying to put some potatoes in here. Here's my onions. Now usually here in the southeast coast we plant our onion seeds around September the 15th. It is October the 2nd, and I actually started these seeds in August. Now they grew and then they died back, but they all sprang back up. So here is some cauliflower, still dealing with a little bit of pests. Gonna have to stay on it. As you can see, there's different sizes of plants, and that has a lot to do with the soil, or it could have just to do with the plant. You see that they're planted close together. Last year I did that, and as they grow I take and clip some of the leaves off. But that plant right there is not looking so hot, so if it dies back or it doesn't do well, I'll pull it up and it'll be plenty of space here. The pepper plant is still growing. Hot pepper plants, I usually take my hot peppers and then make spices out of them. The pineapples, they really love it into the greenhouse. And here is some Cheers cabbages, some volunteer marigold that came up, zinnias, and I think that's it might be periwinkle. But anyways, it's a flower, but you can see that, you know, usually you grow this in the summertime, so it's not doing so hot, but it's still surviving. Over here is the cauliflower. Got one leaning down. I try to push it up like that. Now this morning, these plants was fertilized with Miracle Growth. This is my bell pepper plant. I trimmed it back. It was up to the top. I trimmed it back, left one little branch down there, and it's taken off, and I picked a nice sized bell pepper yesterday. Aloe veras love it in here. I've got to repot some of these plants. Pineapple's taken off. I've got my dollies over here so that I plan on putting my orange and my lemon. It says it was a lemon, and that was, I did grow, not grow those from seeds, but those was store-bought. But it said lemon, but I think it's a lemon lime. I picked a couple of them. They're really good. Here is the chard that I moved, and it's starting to take off. In between here, the trellis, I have put garden peas. Don't know how well they're going to do. We're just going to give it a shot. Sometimes you got to try to just give it a shot and see how well it does. Tomato plant here is still holding on. It's got a little bit of blight. I don't grow leaves, I grow tomatoes. So I'm always constantly trimming my leaves off so that it'll help keep this blight out of here. If you see blight, you want to get this, you know, get them out. Just cut it off, clip it off, or something other. Just get it out. But usually with my plants, they start getting this when it's time for this plant to end. So this plant's been here for a while. See all the tomatoes I got on there? So we're in October and I still got tomatoes. Here's some more onions that was grown from seeds. Bell pepper was grown from seeds. Another hot pepper plant. And here is where some of my onions are starting to come up from planting in August. I think it was August or end of July. Here, over here are some more. So I just transplanted those over there. So they're really tiny. They're starting to take off. If they fall over, when you see them falling over, it's no big deal. Just leave them alone. Don't cut the leaves off of them. The, you know, the little shoots, don't cut them off, because every one of these represents a ring onto the onion down there. So here my chili pepper and a mild jalapeno plant is still going on. Now the thing of it is that I've trimmed it so many times. When it does frost or freeze, of course you see it against the plastic, I'll cut it back. We'll see how well it does, if it survives. If it gets too bad, I'll just see that sheet right there. I'll just cut it back and try to protect it, hopefully for, you know, get it through the winter and see if it'll continue growing. If you can protect your plants, usually they'll continue on. I've moved my strawberries in here. They're starting to take off. Here is some seeds I just planted. I've got chives, Swiss chard, kale, red Russian kale. I also have a dwarf blue curl Bates kale. And we can see a little plant coming up. I have Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts are hard to grow, and mixed lettuce. So they take a long time to get them up. I've never grown Brussels sprouts, just giving it a shout. Shout to my belly, hopefully. There is a pollinator in here. So yeah, I'm gonna try growing some Brussels sprouts. I was having a hard time finding the seeds. I'm just gonna give it a go, see what happens. See what is coming up now. That is the kale that's coming up. Kale into the greenhouse is really easy to grow. I had so much kale. I had kale down 2 trellises here, and that was more than enough. Enough that you could freeze it. I took the shade cloth off yesterday, so that's my preparedness for fall and winter. Now, last year I left the shade cloth on until January, and we didn't have that much sun. It was just kind of dreary. We had a Arctic storm that came through for a week, and so I ended up taking it off because I can notice my plants wanting to get leggy. I just feel like it wasn't getting enough sun. If they're getting leggy, they're definitely not getting enough sun, but it just wasn't enough sun. And so I just went ahead and took it off, and because we're heading into spring, and that gave the plants, you know, all the opportunity to grow. It doesn't take very long to put the shade cloth on. I start at one end. I take my I forgot what they're called. Step out here. Here's some of them right here. Wiggle wire. Had to look at it. Wiggle wire off at one end, and then I leave a piece at the top, and I just doing it by myself. I go from one side to the other. I just kind of roll it a little bit, go to the other side, roll it a little bit until I get to the end. Since I leave one piece of wiggle wire at the top, it holds it on that end, and I'm able to do it by myself. And then I go on one side and roll it up, and when it'll slide over, and I'll just keep rolling and keep rolling and keep rolling, and then I put it into a big trash bag and I store it. And then for when I, you know, ready to put the shade cloth back on, all I got to do is, it's already rolled up, it's gonna be easy to maintain it. I'll just get on a ladder on one side and start working, you know, lay it on the ground and start pulling that shade cloth up until I get to the other side, and I'll just continue unrolling it. So I just want to give you an update. Now the plastic here on the side has been rolled down, but on the very ends it has not. I do not have it shut off here. I usually shut it off. I got a track right here, and I usually, that's some of this wiggle wire will be, you know, when I need to close it off. I feel like because of the temperatures, then I'll put it in the track. And the reason I got it like this, because we're fluctuating temperatures. When I just want to come out here, and that gives it also ventilation. But when I feel like I need to roll these up, then I'll roll it up and you know, let the air flow through there. You know, you hit that season where you can roll it up during the daytime and then you need to put it down at nighttime, depending on the temperatures. Then I'll go ahead and put the wiggle wire into the track. So you see that the fans are going. This door is shut. I'm gonna go ahead, the temperature's gonna be a little bit higher today. I got a latch on the inside and one on the outside. Now this does work, but the reason I have it like that because we have windstorms. You know, we go through hurricanes at times and tropical depressions. And with that, then I just give myself a little bit of security. Here's my collars I've got planted in here. And I got my fruit trees over here. I've got to get into the ground. This is my gate I put here during the daytime to keep cats or critters out, whatever. Even my rooster that stays out until I get my coop built, finished being built over there. Then keeps him out of here. So guys, thank you so much for watching. If you wonder what this is deer fencing. I had a deer fence I put around my garden, and I just put my cucumbers on there. I usually have a trellis. They run up and they run there. Just something I had around here, just trying to make use of what I had around here, and something that wasn't too heavy, something they can run on. As you can see, this deer fencing right here. My garden's a mess right now. I've been having to do some remodeling, so this had to go on hold. I'm actually letting my okra dry and letting my chickens run in there and poop, fertilize, and get the insects. Don't have this vertical planter here planted yet, but we're working on let's see, yeah, we're working on, forgot about that. So I got them over here. I have them somewhere, some strawberry seeds. These are collar plants. Usually I plant them into the garden, and this is more than enough for me. But until I get my garden situated, that's why I put them in planters right now, which I've never done. Sometimes you just got to do experiment, see how it works. Always experiment into your greenhouse, because you don't know what's going to work in your area or into your garden until you just give it a go. So over here you'll see nothing's here. I've got some potatoes I planted in the garden. The chickens kind of got into there. I think almost, you know, I've got plenty of potato seeds. So last year I planted potatoes over here, potatoes over there. So I have some space in here, and maybe today or soon I'll get some potatoes in between these spots. Now this bell pepper plant is close to that side right there, and it's probably going to get hit with the cold. Now I have a video that's showing what I use for frost freeze protection, and it worked. When everybody else is frost and, you know, they killed everything, it worked in my greenhouse. I just had a couple of squash plants that were out of season, and they did get hit onto the side, and but that, you know what, that was fine. It was just an experiment to see how well they would do out of season. So next I'm going to be planting, like I said, my potatoes. Hopefully my garden peas will come up. If they don't, usually I plant them, if possible, in January and February. So and I usually plant those into the garden. They did really well this year, and like I said, experiment, because usually I plant them in February. This year I planted it in January, and in my area it did better than planting it in February, because it just, you know, when garden peas get they can't take the heat, it gets hot, they're done. They're just done. They'll start dying. So I guess there's something back there jumped in. I think I heard an insect. It probably got in the fan. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Just want to give you an update preparing the greenhouse for fall and winter. Now when I open up that back door back there, it's not that hot in here. It's gonna put more of a breeze, but it was really cool this morning, so I kind of, you know, baby my plants, protect them a little bit. And I'm always looking at these thermometers here. So it's 72, it looks like 74 degrees in here, which is perfect for these plants. They're loving it, they're thriving, they're growing. You know, these will be blooming soon. So they just love it. Everything's just taken off. Once I got my little seedlings out of my cell tray and planted them in here, the cabbage, the broccoli, the cauliflower, and then even some little onions plants. Once I got them on my cell tray, this is 162 cells, and that will put you out a lot of plants. But 162 cells, once I got them into the ground, then these babies just took off. This is a cattle panel here. As you can tell, I've got just these regular stakes here, and it works. Now what I just did do was finish this up. You see this board coming across here? If my trellis is filled with beans, I'm able to walk on that trellis and get to the other side. And then when there was nothing on the trellis, then I have a place to put my plants. And these are huge, huge plants. I mean, they're huge. I imagine that one right there. Oh gosh, it's definitely 3+ feet. Got another baby coming up, and it's probably just about 3 feet up. So that it's really huge. My aloe vera plant is tremendous. So these have got to be put into different containers, which I'm working at that now. And then, because they're so heavy, this is why I used these dollies here. Put on lemon tree, maybe the lemon tree, the orange, and that way I can turn them around according to the sun or whatever, or move them around and not be picking these heavy plants up. So that's why I end up getting, or have 3. And I got 3 in here. I have another one in case I need it. So that if I'm down here and I'm working around here, and these plants are so huge, and if I was to put it right here, I would not be able to get through this walkway, as large as it is, because I know, I had a pineapple there. I couldn't even come through here because the plants just get tremendously big. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna get off of here and go back to, I'll just come in here to check the greenhouse out, go back to doing some construction, and hopefully I'll give an update on my chicken coop soon. But just want to show you, we're preparing for fall and winter in the greenhouse. That's why the strawberry plants in here, the fruit trees are in here. The tomatoes are still growing, so I got them in the middle of the bed to help protect them from the sidewalls. We'll see how these pepper plants do. I do have some in the middle for that reason. If they get hit, they get hit because they've been here since spring. See you on to the next video.